see if the board will check the records, about $2,300 to do this. We had no idea that anybody had been in here until after the fact. But the facts remains, if they put some sod in down here the way it is now, and I heard this gentleman, this one, which that there had been some conversation about putting a different type of soil where the berms are now. That could still be done, but the problem still remains is when you fill the ponds up with water, it doesn't matter what you put in there. If they fill up and overflow, they're going to wash out. One engineer said what he would do is just fill them all in and let it all run down the hill into the bay. Another suggestion, but just a reminder that this started back here. The developer put in the ponds and stuff back when the developer had control. We, as I'm saying, the erosion committee was asked to come down here because they didn't want to pay Roads Inc. again $450,000 to redo the erosion project and the parking lot. So we came down here, volunteers, trying to do the right thing. We got the project done for 40-some thousand, plus there was some stuff that repaired for Roads Inc. and the pipe that run it up to about 52. So that's a savings of like $150,000 to us. That's the way it all came about. Got any questions?
Endel did bring up a good point. Once we have all this work done, there's going to be a maintenance requirement for the different ponds. So that's going to have to go through all times. We're going to have to budget something for that. And the engineer should come back once we do this and say, this is how often it should happen, or once this event happens, you know, if it goes up so high, then we need to come in and dig it out. But that's very, very inexpensive compared to, you know, the washouts or other things that could happen. And I kind of like the idea of just letting the water go into the sand myself.
Could it be done? Sure. Can I say one more thing?
I don't think EP would let it happen.
Okay. I don't think so either, but like they said, you can run pipes into the bay. You can't flood the bay. But before we finished up the erosion project back there, and I'm sure the board has some copies, we had all kinds of copies from the DEP laying out what they wanted done back here. There were no fines, no this or that. And they also told us that they would like for the association to go back as far as they can and tell them, this is a letter from the DEP, not me, of everything that's been done back there since like 2000. And what they'd like to do is put together some kind of a plan back there that they figured would withstand a substantial amount of water. Well, that's not a bad idea. Probably adding another drain pipe to the playground area where the kids are down there would probably double the chances it would ever wash out again. But you can't run water in a pond and not have an outlet. Thank you.
And we've gone from making that suggestion, we do that, to pretty much saying, you guys need to do this. So we, you know, I think this comes from prodding of the agency. Now they're forcing us to do some actions instead of where we were before. It's the right move. I don't know what the expense is going to be. I think the first couple of phases is going to be tens of thousands of dollars to get started. Then you have construction and everything else that's required on the other end. But now,
can you repeat the price you said for 700 or for construction?
No, I'm talking about phase 1 or phase 2, just to get a snapshot and report and get through DEP the first time. It's going to be more than 10,000 and less than 100,000 for our bids. Our bids were between $2,000 and $52,000, so it's going to be in that range somewhere to get the first 3 phases done. And after that,
okay, thank
distribution of information regarding the software companies with comparison information.
They just want to file it. I'm afraid my PowerPoint is not as elaborate as others. Mine's just big print with big prices. So hopefully,
Move that louder, please, Bill.
I said my PowerPoint is not as elaborate as some of the others you've seen, and mine is in really big print so that you can see it, so that I can see it basically. I think it's in big enough print. There it is. Originally we looked at, or I did, 3 software packages that were uniquely geared toward a homeowners association. They were Circa Connect, GenArc, and TOPS. Over the last few weeks, we've had some webinars here, and Alex Family was gracious enough to allow our employees to come and sit and go through several of the webinars we had. They were quite informative, and I do believe that most of the people that were at the webinars were impressed with the products that were displayed. The webinar we did the most work on was TOPS, and I later found out from talking to the GenArc people that First Services uses on their back end or their accounting packages, they use either an exact copy of GenArc or a modified copy to fit the First Services goals. The First Services maintains many homeowners associations, and the GenArc software from the accounting point of view was a good match for them. We later found out that the First Services Connect package was handling the CC&R, which is our covenants enforcement end of it, and also had a mobile app that the ACC people could go out and do a mobile picture and have it updated and all that good stuff for that. One product that wasn't changed when FSR came in was the front desk. That is still a product that we've been using for years and years and years, and it's although one of the problems is it's a separate database and really doesn't integrate with the First Services database, so we sort of have to maintain 2 different databases of our owner systems. So that gives you a little brief history. Stepping back just one point, the Circa Connect software was so new, and I'm not one to really jump on it. You know, when Microsoft comes out with a new operating system, it's a year later before I update my computer, because I don't want to be involved in beta testing a product somebody. So the Circa Connect software was kind of eliminated up on front end, and these are the biggest players in the field. Now,
So could I ask you a question?
yeah.
Oh, I think this ran out. But anyway, people hear me. Did I understand earlier that you did a webinar besides TOPS? Did you say you did it with somebody else too?
No. I have done the webinar with the GenArc one. All the webinars we did were the TOPS, because that was a recommendation from the ACC people, Pete.
Okay.
And I had also talked to Rhonda about that as well, about the TOPS and the GenArc software, and she was familiar with the GenArc, and when she looked at the TOPS, it was very similar, so she was an improvement on that. But the people that were involved in the seminar were Pete and Shelby with the ACC. We had the main one we had was Pam, and I think you were at the first one, and I think Alex was there, and we had Rhonda was there. We had Shelby was there, and I think Ray was there. Yeah, and I think there was one other person there. But we had a good broad representation of the staff that was there. And it's taken a while. These people don't just, you don't call them on the phone and say, hey, listen, I want to price of your software, how about giving me your price over the phone? And it takes literally weeks to come up with the plans and the various modules and the pricing, and it's a very complicated thing to get into, but that's right down my alley, so I love to do that kind of stuff. So the first one we're going to talk about is the Genarch. It is it's probably the biggest and the baddest of all, the biggest and the best of all software that you can get for a HOA. It is used a lot by First Services, and it's also used by a lot of other management companies. It is intended primarily to be for management companies. The whole concept is that so they can have hundreds and thousands of properties under one package. And that's basically what this package does. But to break it down, we have a base HOA system, and that base system typically includes, and this was what a lot of others had in there, was the owner's database. Incidentally, I left a copy on, and Rebecca, you didn't get your copy here, but it's up on the FSR website now. Is that right, Alex?
Yes, it's under the contract section. With
Okay, all this information that I'm going right now is up on the FSR contract, so you can go look at it if you're a techie type and want to ask questions. And it also has all the contact names and phone numbers of everybody that I talk to. So you can call them up and you can talk to them yourself. But a base HOA software includes owner's database, community calendars, community fact sheets, communication management with mail, accounts receivable, collections, accounts payable, general ledger. It has the bank reconciliation program. Some of them are auto. Most of them are auto. Has all the report generators customized. You can print out any report you want. It has the basic packages. Also includes the CCNR, which is yes.
I was going to ask a question on this when you had a moment.
Okay. Does it pertain to the list of features?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm almost finished with that list of features. The CCNR is, once again, that's our covenants enforcement division. They have a basic package that's included with all of these. They also offer options, the mobile options, which is one of the options we have, but that option was, I think, developed by FSR. Work orders, we have all the global reporting, we have the lockbox processing, we got the Merck printer and scanners like we have now, and all the digital signatures, job streaming, gate security, pool passes. It pretty much covers everything that we're running now in the basic package. Yes?
I see you have an initial cost, you have a monthly cost. Is there a license fee that comes up on an annual basis for this software?
The license fee beyond the initial cost is the monthly.
So our initial fee for this then would be a $32,000 and then an annual fee of $12,000. So our initial savings of
$1,200
would be $4,200 as our initial cost for our first year. Is that correct?
I don't understand the question. How about if I get to that point and then I'll go through it, and if you still have a question, we can go over it then. So the base package, can you back up a page for me, please? The base HOA system from Genarch is $19,428, and once you pay that, it's also going on and ongoing. That's a one-time licensing fee. That's what you buy for the software. Incidentally, all the software is all cloud-based software, meaning we don't have to have a server here. We don't have to have technicians that are maintaining our products. We can operate it from iPads as long as we have the correct security in place. We can operate it from anywhere. Okay, so which is a really nice idea. The cloud hosting is. Each one of these packages, I tried to get the same number of users as close as possible. Some of them had a couple more than the other one, but this one has 7 simultaneously users, and that's $140 a month. The installation was $1,800. That's setting it up on their cloud. The e-bank integration, which is setting up, currently we're with US Bank, and they have a very good relationship with US Bank, but there is a fee to set that up on the front end. The website integration is where it links to the website, which I will go over in just a few minutes. That's $142 a month. The installation and training is $6,240. Making, if we move on down to the next page with you, the smart violation is the mobile package for the CNR. That's where you can go out in the field, you can take your cell phone, you can take a picture of the property. It's all GPS referenced. It'll actually know where you're at. It has a mapping image of our community, and it'll bring up a specific house and the address of that house that you're taking a picture of. And you can say, well, this is in violation. So you take a picture. It's automatically uploaded to the CCNR site, and from there it is linked into the accounting databases, and letters are already sent. So it's a fully automated system, very, very similar to what we're using now, but has some extra features that we don't incorporate, especially the GPS. The GenArc recommends associate voice for their websites, and up on the website I have a feature list, a point of contact, and pictures of the various websites that Associate Voice does. They're one of the largest in the world at doing websites for homeowners associations. The initial setup fee for that is $475. That's $250 a month. Total upfront cost for GenArc is $30,000, $30,243, and the total monthly fee is $1,149. And that's ongoing, that's every month. There's no additional yearly license fees involved. So once we pay the $30,000, pay $1,149 a month. That is the GenArc. Now, the actual specs, the actual features and the capabilities of each module that I mentioned is up on our website under contract. You can go look at it.
Excuse me, Bill?
Yes.
Question back on the GenArc. What's the length, 90 to 120 days? What's that supposed to be?
Right now? Oh yeah, I didn't finish that. The implementation time, excuse me, the implementation time for GenArc software is 90 to 120 days. That's from the time we give them the deposits, the money, to where everything that they're supplying us is fully operational. We've had all our training and everything's good. Okay.
What do we do in the meantime?
Well, I had in my transition plan that there are some opportunities up on the front end. We have experience with QuickBooks, which would be a front end for us to use on our accounting. We have our current MotionSoft software, which will do all our check-ins. And for the CC&R package, there's several very inexpensive packages that we could implement on the front end. Now, part of the transition from FSR, it's not like you request from FSR to give us their data on a CD in a Excel format. Their system is so complex and so big that it's hard for them to break out the accounting data out of all the thousands of other properties that they have. The way we transitioned on the accounting software is exactly the way that they transitioned on the software. They came in here, they took our general ledger trial balances and our journals, and they started from that point forward. And they left the historical data, which was QuickBooks. We have all that on file, so we can bring all that up. So it's a very similar process in transitioning from FSR to any other package. It doesn't matter what package that we decide to go with, they're all going to be the same. Do you have another question?
No.
Did I answer your question in that?
I'm still looking for my annual cost. So monthly cost ties that I'm going to be spending somewhere in the neighborhood of, I'm going to do math in public, of $14,000 $40,000 a year.
It's $1,149 times 12.
Okay, math in public, anybody doing it?
What is that, 14,000?
That's what I said. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
So it's $14,000, and it's, our initial cost is $30,000. So,
Right.
so for a year, even if we were terminating,
$44,000, yeah.
now if we're paying $60,000 a year, but we only have 7 months left with the FSR contract. We're now.
What are you talking about?
When is the FSR contract up? If we didn't terminate.
It's
October,
up in
right?
October of
The end of
2016.
October 16.
So your question is, yes.
My question is you're right, I was working off of.
I had originally budgeted in the transition figures $18,000 a year for software for our organization. Going with the GenArc software, which is the upper end, puts us well over that $18,000 a year budget. But it is a alternative that we can look at, and it is one of the best software packages out there that we can possibly go with. Now, the downside of this package, because it is so big and so intense, it's the learning curve is a lot more intense, and it requires that the personnel have a little more skill whenever they're involved with it. Okay, so
Bill?
Yeah.
Excuse me. I thought you said earlier that it was comparable to Connexer, but.
well, now the FSR Connect is a different package from this package. Now the back end software, the accounting, the accounts receivable, accounts payable, the GL, is identical almost. So there will be very little learning curve for Rhonda, you know, because she already knows it. And
Would that be the same for ACC too, because they're already using, I think, aren't they?
well, they are using FSR's Connect, which is a custom package that FSR created.
Right.
So it's unlike anything else out there on the market. I mean, it's similar, but if we go with a different package, it's going to be a different learning curve because they won't be familiar with it. But we did go over a webinar with a product that I think we should really consider, which is TOPS. And TOPS is next on our list. The TOPS software. Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Just a quick question. We've been listening to HR companies tonight as well. Is there any duplication in what this package has and the accounting for our personnel that the HR company would be providing?
No. No, there is no payroll module in these packages. They're all assuming that we're going with an HR service. Yes.
Couple questions on slide prior. You had 7 users.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any reason why we limit it to 7 users?
Well, those are 7 simultaneous users.
Simultaneous. Okay.
Right,
Thank you.
right.
And then the website. Is that to pay them to maintain the website, or is we going to maintain the website here?
No,
$250 a month we pay?
we have to have somebody on staff that'll do the uploads and put the pictures and this, that, and the other.
Okay. And is there any communications involved with the software that allows you to communicate with the members, like email blasts?
Absolutely, it's included with the package, and it's also, the website is fully integrated. If you have your login and password, you can go in and find out all kinds of information about your account. You can find out information about your CC&R problems you may have. So it just goes on and on and on. I mean, it's much more intense. Well, I wouldn't say intense. It's much more user friendly than the site we have now, and also the site we have now. This was kind of a problem when I was actually talking to the website integration people. They wanted to come and look at our site. I said, well, you know, you can go to www.hollywoodc.org, but unless you have the password, you know, you're not going to see anything. And they went out and tried it, and lo and behold, you know, they couldn't see anything. They got an error code up on the screen. Well, that needs to be changed because there's a lot of things that go on up on the front end. So these sites are geared toward having a really nice looking site that's full of information for a normal visitor, and then a login for a property owner, which has all the financial data. Incidentally, with the GenArc package, the website is updated instantaneously. It's a live process. If you make a change on your homeowner information on the website, it updates the server that has all your accounting data. And it's vice versa. The accounting data, whenever you make a change, you make a payment, it instantly shows up on the website. So that's a real nice product. Any other point? Yes.
You mentioned that our check-in software is different from this.
Yes.
And that your intention is to keep it separate.
For right now, yes.
Okay.
There are some plans that I do not have all the timetables for and all the pricing for, to integrate that software with either TOPS or the GenArc software, which also includes the upgrades for the park entrance gate, which we can't really, from what I understand, we can't put out any more passes. We're maxed out and that, so that also needs to be addressed. Now,
Well, I did have a follow-on question to that, and that is, the reason why I'm asking that question is that check-in data is what would be based to use to do any expansions whatsoever, or any programs or staffing patterns, or that's what you base everything on, is usage patterns.
I don't understand your question.
Okay, if you need, when we were doing the pool study,
Right.
we were trying to decide what the usage was, and there was no data to support the study.
I see what you're
to
saying.
say anything
Right.
about the usage. And whether, for instance, if the pool is only used between 9 and 6,
Right.
I'm just throwing it out there.
That is for good staffing patterns. yeah.
We need to have a staffing pattern for that. So,
I understand that fully.
okay.
And I'm working on that aspect of it. That wasn't one of the critical
But-
transition plans.
Well, if we're cutting our staff from 30 to 15, we really
Well,
need to.
you're wrong about that.
It's under transition.
In the transition plans, it says we're gonna have 15 core employees. And then right down there bottom, it says we're also gonna have 10 to 15 part-time employees as well. So we're gonna have anywhere from 15 to 30 employees depending on.
On staffing patterns,
Right.
based on data that's not being collected right now.
Well, we do have some historical data.
Okay, I'm just.
You're absolutely correct there. I mean, that front desk that's a very, if it was easy, it would have already been replaced when FSR came in. It's not easy. And it's a tough thing to integrate all this data together. But I think that's where we need to be at some point in the very near future. Okay? So spending that kind of money for a product that is primarily geared toward management companies didn't seem like it would be a great fit for us. It's big, it's cumbersome, it's a lot of features that we may or may not even use, and the price is indicative that it's a really high-end product. Of course, you can't always put price on high-end, but we are
Very true.
we are in this case. All right, our next product is TOPS. Incidentally, both of these companies are willing that they're a couple of decades old. TOPS is even older than the GenArc people are. Now, TOPS is a much easier product to use. It's not quite as robust and not quite as geared toward a organization that has 1,000 associations that is trying to manage. It's more geared toward somebody like us, which is one organization, and we want to be able to do all the things the big boys do, but we don't want to pay that big old price. So TOPS comes along. Now the base HOA system is a little different price here. We're looking at $4,270. That's a one-time fee. That's not an annual fee, that's a one-time fee. And included in that is the installation and the conversion of the data. Now, there's still a point of contention on converting the data. We have some issues in trying to import electronically all the data that FSR has, because from what I understand, it's not easy for FSR to break out Holly by the Sea from their other 1,000 organizations they have on here, okay, as far as the accounting goes. But all of our homeowner information can be migrated electronically into most any system that we use. Okay, so it's a matter of just getting that exported data in an Excel format and uploading it, and we're up and running. Their price includes the installation and conversion, whereas the GenArt part of that support and training, $6,000 price, was part of the conversion price as well. The TOPS will allow us 9 simultaneous users. Now, those 9 simultaneous users are not the mobile users that are out there for the ACC&R. Those are people who are sitting at iPads or computers or whatever they happen to be that are simultaneously hitting the database. It's not the website that can handle 4,000 users at one time. This is strictly just the software that runs our organization. We have training with this package. We get 15 hours included in that price of one-on-one training. Now, they have Stephanie, who is their account executive, who lives in Panhandle. I think she lives in Panama City or something. But all these organizations are all web-based now. That's where you get your training. You sit down with the software, it's one-on-one, they take over your computer, and they show you how to do it all. And most of it is that way. You can pay to have them come in and do one-on-one, but that just doesn't seem like the way to go today. After the 15 hours of one-on-one training, they have unlimited online training. Now, unlimited online training means when they have a webinar on a special feature or a certain function, or they're throwing a webinar that might be about your new receivables package or something, that's all free. The website is not from, it's getting late and I'm not having a little bit of, it's not from Associate Voice, but it's from At Home Net. At Home Net is up there with Associate Voice. They're both very large organizations that have thousands of users that they have websites for. Their website fee is $150 to get it up and running, is $99 a month. Has all the features that we need. We can log in, we can see our data, we can change our data, we can manipulate our data. The biggest difference is that the data is updated on a daily basis, not real time. Okay, so there's a little price you pay for not having that instant database access. Okay. On the other side, you see that our initial investment is $4,420. It's a little higher monthly fee, but it's $1,374, and the length of integration is 30 to 45 days. I also found out that that there's a very inexpensive option for us. We can always come back in time a little bit, and we can use QuickBooks if we have to. I don't think Wanda wants to, and I don't really want to, but if we have to, we can do that. And one of these packages that does the mobile, the Smart Violation package, which is $325 a month, which I had them actually reduce because they wanted $475 a month and $1,500. But that'll integrate with Enterprise Edition of QuickBooks. So if we didn't want to spend a whole bunch of money, we can spend $500 for $500 to $1,000 for Enterprise QuickBooks, pay $325 a month, keep our front end software we got, we're done. So that's a very inexpensive way to transition, and it's sort of like a stopgap, because I think that eventually we're going to want to migrate into something that has the total database integrity, that wherever we're from, it's all the same data, and we don't have multiple databases running around all the place. So all this information is available up on the contract side. Yes?
Now, with the Smart Violation, is that, can we use that with the TOPS?
Smart Violation will be used with TOPS, yeah. It integrates better, from what the guy was telling me, with the GenArt, the Smart Violation is, once again, is instantaneous.
Yeah, because, I mean, you have the real-time
Right,
updates.
and if we use The smart violation with the tops, it's not instantaneous, okay? But it's still capable of doing the same thing, it's just not immediate. And both of these CC&R packages will automatically generate letters. You don't have to come back and say, please send my first letter, please send my second letter. Yes?
I want to say thank you for providing some facts to back up some of the figures we've seen. This is what we need to have for everything that's on that budget. We need to have facts so that we understand. There might be one or two Republicans in Santa Rosa County.
Sarcasm.
There's a guy by the name of Ronald Reagan, you might have heard of him, who said trust but verify.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to make sure that I'm just making my point.
You are.
You might be able to make qualified decisions, but I don't know you from anybody else. And the numbers that we've got, we need them fleshed out and backed up. We've got 2 areas that have been fleshed out and backed up so far. There's still a lot of areas that this is. Are there any other software plans that are out there? What are the guys down there at that place called the Villages use? I mean, we're the biggest homeowners association north of the Villages. Everybody says it over and over again. What are they using down there? Has anybody asked them? And I'm guessing from you're nodding your head, you're going to say you're doing the north-south, but you should be doing it east-west.
Oh, no. The Villages, when I was talking to the Genarch people, they indicated that they had their software in the Villages.
Okay, indicated. That's one of those words that
has
anybody asked the Villages, north, south, east,
I did
west?
not ask him specifically whether his software was employed in all the HOAs that are part of the Villages. His number is definitely on all the information I give in, and I will call and find out that
Thank you,
answer.
sir.
Okay? Yes.
Last board meeting, we heard a fairly strong statement that the software for the architecture committee is critical.
Right.
Will both TOPS and Genarch be able to support what they're doing right now?
And more.
Okay.
And
That'll
they've
be
said that
an
and
easy
they looked at
transition
it.
for the folks that are in there?
What now?
It'll be a reasonable transition for the folks that are.
All the CC&R software is you can't do a migration of electronic data with those packages. You have to basically take what you have on hand as far as the data and the contracts and the letters and all that other stuff, and you have to re-implement them. So there is time involved in bringing all those packages back up to speed, with the exception of the homeowner database. That migrates very, very easily. Yes?
Have either of these companies come out and surveyed all our data and stuff to determine what we need, or are they going off just by what are they using to determine their prices? Just basically on what your word of mouth is, or have they come and actually looked at our systems?
No.
And seen what we needed? Because I remember
They have not
First
made a
Services
personal
bit off
visit.
more than they could chew when they came in. When First Services came in initially, they thought it was going to be an easy transition
Oh,
too.
no, it's not.
And, it ended up being a lot more complicated than they thought.
Yeah. Yes?
Sorry, I lost you guys.
Oh, okay. Well, you sound like me. I'm tired too. I mean, the transition of software is never an easy thing. It can be made easier. And for instance, one of the specifically questions that I asked, when I asked the Genarch people, have you done a migration from First Service? I mean, from FSR? And they said yes, they have, many times. I asked TOPS the same question. They said yes, many times. I asked Genarch, have you done a migration from TOPS? And they said yes, many times. I asked TOPS, have you done a migration from Genarch? And they said a few. So that kind of lets you know that the big boy out there is Genarch. And TOPS is not quite as, he's not in the upper level. So migration is not an easy thing, but these folks are very familiar with the software we're running because FSR is one of the biggest management companies in the world. You know, they have thousands of homeowners. Yes.
So the migration of the data from FSR is included in the price you presented up there, or is that going to be an additional cost?
The migration of data is included in all the prices.
Okay. And to follow up on that, when they go from GenR 2014 to GenR 2016, do we have it in writing that is included, we're paying that by having the monthly fee, or is there going to be an additional fee when they go from
No,
GenR?
it is in the contract. Now, one of the nice things about being a cloud-based program, and this was a very important question that I asked them. I said, you know, me being an old school guy, I don't like to, you know, upgrade just because it's the brand new and the latest and greatest thing. I said, what is your beta process? Since it is a cloud-based program, whenever they update it, it's live or right there on the spot. And what they indicated to me, or what they told me, was that they go through a beta testing cycle for almost a year before they implement it. And there is no additional charge for an upgrade. It's just an ongoing, all the support, everything we need is built into that monthly price, unless we choose to add another module that they may offer. Any more questions? Yes.
Do they provide security for the data, or is that on us to provide it in our computers?
No, it's all done by them. They both have a 7-day, what they call rollover. So they keep 7 days of data, and then it starts over once a month. They historically keep one data, and they take it off of their cloud servers and they put it on another cloud server. So there's redundant backups going on all the time. We basically won't have any data here. Okay, it'll all be stored on servers in the cloud, and the cloud can be anything. It can be Microsoft. It could be it could be GoDaddy, you know, servers which have some of the, you know, the biggest networks in the world. We're tapped into it, and they're redundant. You know, it's not sitting on just this one place in the cloud. It's here, here, and here. So there's multiple locations. Yes.
Loss of internet, then we're out of business.
Loss of internet.
We're out of business.
No, you just bring up your cell phone. You can access it. You can go right into it.
What's that burst thing we could have?
All their apps are mobile apps. Okay. If we lose the internet here, we can run over to the house if we happen to live here, and bring up our computer there. But if we lose the internet for all of Navarre and cell phones are still working, we can still do it.
Well, they're not going to be working because everyone's going to be on them.
Well, right. Yeah. You know,
no one's going to have.
That's obviously a worst case scenario.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they aware they're going to have to keep our data for 7 years, some of our data for over 7 years?
I did not ask that question, but I will. I think most of the time what people do is annually they'll receive a paper report, or they'll get it on a thumb drive, or whatever mechanism is okay with the IRS for storing records.
Do we have any more questions? No? Okay, I'd like to thank Bill for putting that together and the research. Thank you. Now, it's freezing cold tonight, and we're kind of overrunning really our time. Could I have a motion to adjourn?
No.
I make a motion.
No.
Yeah, an open forum.
Yeah, it's getting late though. It's getting late. What time does the census start?
9 o'clock, but
9
last
o'clock.
board meeting ran us till 10:30.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to keep the staff at this time tonight. We're gonna have another
Like a
meeting on
filibuster.
Tuesday.
When was the last time we had an open forum?
Last week.
Well, I think people have probably spoken out.
Maybe we can raise hands.
Yeah.
See if people want to stay and listen. Who wants to listen to a little bit of open discussion? Raise your hand.
I'm going home. My husband just came back from TDY, so
Tell him we said
I'm
hello
sorry.
and
Lots of people
congratulations.
have already
Welcome
voted
back.
with their feet.
But no, my husband just came home from TDY, so it happens.
Okay, why don't you just send us the questions in the email? We're gonna have to keep the stuff, you know, to lock up.
I'd like to have my 3 minutes and then I'll go, and then I'll be done.
Have your 3 minutes and then we'll go.
That's
Mrs.
fine.
Crawford, who prepared the 2 letters that were provided to FSR to terminate the contract?
I wrote the letters. Yeah, I wrote the letters.
You wrote both letters. All right, thank you very much. I just want to make sure that we had that on the record. With that, I don't think I need to say any more. I understand who's responsible. Who is supposed to execute notices according to our bylaws and covenants? No, I believe that there's one office that the president is prohibited from holding. What's office would that be?
The secretary, but by the contract with FSR, it is the secretary.
But who, according to our covenants and bylaws, is required to prepare notices and execute those? That would be the question you need to look. I hope you would go back and look at the secretary's duties. The notices are to be prepared by the secretary.
Can I have a motion? Can I have a motion?
Yeah, I'll give you a motion. I'll have a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
Yeah, a second. Okay, those in favor?
Rebecca?
Are you there?
I'm here.
Rebecca's at home in the warm, remember?
It's warm here.
We gotta get out and get home.
Oh, big deal.
Okay, those in favor of adjourning the meeting? Say aye.
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 Did anyone else want to speak?
Does anybody want to comment at the open forum, or are we done?
Well, Jan just voted aye.
Uh-oh.
We're waiting on you.
My question was, does anybody want to comment at the open forum,
We
or
done.
are we done?
There's no one in line, Rebecca, so I guess we're
We're
done.
done.
Okay, I will vote aye also.
Okay, meeting adjourned at 9:20.
So I screenshot all that. Bill posting
My point.
We don't need no stinking rules, thank you.
My point